Well, hello minders, welcome back to the Mind Watercolor. And whoo-wee, boy, I tell you, this 30-day challenge it's intense, trying to keep up with that and make videos and do all that kind of stuff too. So I'm just again gonna jump right into it. I am busier than a one-legged man at a butt kicking contest, you know. So what's that, Reese? Busier than a bone digger at a bone digging convention? That's not a thing. That's not a saying. He's just upset because he doesn't even have one leg. Anyway, we're going to quickly go through, since the last video, the challenge paintings I've done, and then I have another painting demo or speed painting at the end of one of my plein air pieces. What I did was I went out to a park and I got, this is Perfect Sketchbook. The B5 Perfect Sketchbook. It's got Fabriano Artistico paper in it. In advance, I taped off these two squares and just took the one book. I was hopeful to get in one painting, but I was able to get two. They have a pond there, which you can't see. I have a little bit of the water. And there's like over to the left, there's like a big fountain. And then they have a gazebo out in the center. It's real picturesque. A lot of people take wedding pictures there. And the light was just really dramatic. So in keeping with that theme, I just sat myself down under a tree. Now, what's interesting about both of these is that I used my Mary Blue palette. I filled the portable painter with this My Mary Blue, and I love those paints. I mean, I really love them. They're as pigment packed as M. Graham, every bit. And I think partially because of how under the shade I was, I couldn't tell how intensely I was painting, which I normally dull my colors down, gray my colors down a little more, but I really like this. These are just extremely intense. They're very clean and transparent colors, so my Mary Blue is going to get a little more attention from me. So as I said, painted this. I thought that this would be smaller and I would get it higher up and I would be able to get in more of the water, but as I started drawing, it didn't work out that way. It's fine for a sketch, but I started with the lightest colors, as you usually do. I really only sketched in with a brush. I don't have video of this one, the gazebo, and same with the lamp post, and I just kind of dot and dash plotted the rest of it, let that kind of be free flow, and then you know, paint in the lighter parts, and then I move up to the darker parts. So these went really pretty quickly. I painted both of these in about an hour and a half. I was happy with those. Those turned out, I just love the clean, bright look of them. And I need to maybe paint that way a little more. I didn't do it intentionally, but I love it. And this is day 7 and day 8. Although I did them on the same day. But I mean, yeah, I've had to work ahead. I just have had to. I knew there were going to be days that I couldn't do a painting. And on days that I could, I tried to get in 2. For most days, I'm doing a painting a day. But on a couple occasions, I am doing 2. So I posted this on day 7 and I posted this on day 8. Okay, so here's my day 9 posting, and I have to say this has probably been my favorite so far, not just as a piece but experientially, you know, being there on the day. It was just very enjoyable. It was cool. It was in my backyard. I was outside, and I painted this on a panel. This is actually Arch's watercolor board. And I used this because I wanted to also get out my box, my Gorilla Painter plein air box, which I haven't used in a while. So you'll see that in the video. This is at the end of this video. I have a painting video of this. And of course I'm very comfortable with trees and landscape. The feeling of being there with all the cool green shade, and then the sun was over here, light streaming in through the back part of the tree line. I just felt like this came together nicely. So day 9, and coming up here in a few minutes on this video, I'll have a speed painting of that. Alright, so day 10, and I'm back to this book that was given to me by a viewer, Michelle Heron. And this I did on my back deck. It got a little dirty up in here, the colors, a little dirty and muddy, and some of this is like overworked You know, I re-wet and re-wet, and it doesn't have the clean, sharp washes that I hoped it would have. But in terms of light, I'm pretty happy with it. All of these, I think, are good learning, study sketches. So, you know, it's not that I'm really unhappy when I say I don't like something. I expect not to like some of these. I expect that. And I am in a learning process too. You know, you never stop learning, and I appreciate how several of you, you know, kind of came to my defense, so to speak, and encouraged me. Do understand that when I say something negative about my pieces, I'm not putting myself down. I'm teaching myself, basically. So it's not all about negativity. I know what I would like to see. I know what could have been possible, and the only way to instruct myself to reach those goals is just to kind of talk about it. So, but light-wise, I think it works as a study. Next time, I think if I do something like this, I'll try for a little bit fresher look. Some of it was due to indecision. You know, when you're undecided how to paint in certain areas, you will go back and rework them more later, or add paint to them more, and that tends to, you know, figure into the overworking. So my day 10 posting. Now over to my smaller Fabriano sketchbook, and this is my day 11 posting. And I just had an urge to get out the gouache, so I took my Schmincke palette, which is a hybrid. It's half gouache, half watercolor. And we go to this local university. Those who live in the area have heard of Furman University, and every summer they have a weekly lakeside concert. And so, you know, we just went out there, brought our lawn chairs, and just sat and relaxed. And I just decided I was going to paint whatever I happened to see. These are across their lake, little dormitories, I think. Treated very roughly and loosely here. But it was good practice to break out the gouache again. A lot of it was watercolor, a lot of the deeper tones. And I usually only bring in the gouache for painting, you know, some of the more opaque colors. All of these reflections here are white gel pen. So my day 11 posting. Go back to this sketchbook. And this is my day 12 posting. This was from a photo I took, one of my many hundreds of reenactment photos. And I was pretty happy with the light, you know, getting the nice drama between the shade and the light. I was happy the way this sort of focused in on detail a little more, and this was looser. I was not happy with the flesh tones. They came out a little dead and flat and a tiny bit overworked because I kept going back in and adding or lifting or adding or lifting. Again, you know, indecision just kind of hampered me on that. But that's what these studies are for. That's what they're for. And again, I don't ever really regret doing these or getting very frustrated with them because I see what I've learned, or I see what I can take away from it. And that's really important. That's a very important thought I can leave with you, is your takeaway is more important, you know, necessarily than you come away with a thoroughly beautiful picture that you're just thrilled with. That's not going to happen every time. It's just not gonna. And again, I appreciate that several of you thought this was outstanding. That's my day 12 posting. Day 13. And we had a couple days of rain. I really couldn't get outside. I was unsure what to paint. This is just a little urban sketch and an urban building sketch. And this was a freeze frame from a movie. I'd actually watched a movie the night before. And again, it's overworked, you know, indecision. I'm not real experienced at doing plein air. And it wasn't plein air, but it was almost sort of mock plein air. But I really like these shadow patterns. I think the light came across. I should have spent a little more time on the building. But then again, you know, it wouldn't have been loose. And this is not very loose. It's really very tight compared to a lot of urban painters. But again, a valuable practice, a valuable exercise. So day 13. Day 14. And this is where I'll stop the review today. Again, this was a freeze frame from a video. I was watching a bear documentary and just saw this really kind of neat little composition and freeze framed it. And I really enjoyed painting this. I like compositions with leading lines. This was gouache again. This is almost completely gouache. There's a tiny bit of watercolor or transparent watercolor in there. And I don't know why, it was just very fun to paint it. It actually went really, really quick. I didn't do any sketching ahead of time. What I did is I taped this off, and then I just started sculpting out this bear with a light wash, almost like a silhouette as a very light wash, then painting in the rest of it. And then I went back and added shadows and highlights, and it came together very quickly. And when I was done, it's just I was super happy with it. But I love studies like that are just super enjoyable. So day 14, I will stop there and we'll go on and look at the plein air that I did of this piece. Alright, minders, I think that's going to about wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed this. And I have already put another bonus video for patrons at the $5 level for Sketchbook Peaks. There will be also one coming very shortly for the video extras level. That's $10 and above. So look for those, and there will probably be additional bonus videos for patrons before the end of the month. Hope you'll see those. On to the rest of the challenge. Okay, we'll see everybody in the next video.